Have you ever wondered in the middle of the night why the Mona Lisa is so famous? Why is it the only one among thousands of paintings by great artists? Why does it always look at you and follow you wherever you go? Welcome to Midnight Reflections, where curiosity never sleeps. Now, let's find out. Imagine walking into a museum, surrounded by hundreds of paintings, yet your eyes are drawn to one in particular. A woman sits in a portrait, her expression enigmatic, her eyes seemingly following your every move. You step left, she watches. You step right, she's still watching. That's the Mona Lisa. There's a reason why, out of all the masterpieces in the world, this single painting is the most famous. Even if you've never studied art, even if you can't name another painting, you know the Mona Lisa. She has transcended the art world and become an icon, a symbol of mystery, beauty, and intrigue. At first glance, she seems like an ordinary portrait of a woman. There are no extravagant colors, no dramatic scenery, no grand displays of power. She simply sits there, looking at you, with that strange, almost mischievous smile. Some people find her soothing, others find her eerie. Yet no one can deny that there's something about her. Something that makes it nearly impossible to look away. This painting is full of mysteries, and over the years, scientists, historians, and art lovers have tried to unravel its secrets. Is there a hidden code in the painting? Did Da Vinci embed secret messages in her gaze? Was the Mona Lisa even a real person, or was she a figment of Da Vinci's imagination? And most importantly, how did this one painting become the most famous artwork in the world? To answer these questions, we have to go back in time, to Renaissance Italy, to the mind of one of history's greatest geniuses, Leonardo da Vinci. Before Da Vinci, most paintings were flat and rigid. Artists typically painted people in strict side or front-facing poses, giving their portraits a stiff, almost lifeless feel. But Da Vinci did something radical. He introduced three-dimensionality into his work. If you look at older portraits, you'll notice they lack depth. The subjects appear as if they're pasted onto the canvas rather than existing within a real space. Take a look at the Mona Lisa's face. There are no visible lines separating her cheeks from the shadows beneath them. Her jawline, her nose, even the corners of her lips, they all blend seamlessly, making her look far more natural than other portraits of the time. This is why her expression feels so elusive. It's not sharply defined, so our eyes interpret it in different ways depending on the light and angle. Another groundbreaking technique Da Vinci used was perspective and composition. Instead of painting Mona Lisa in a stiff, straight-on position, he positioned her body at an angle while keeping her face turned toward the viewer. This subtle twist added dynamism to the portrait, making it feel more alive. And then there's the background, a dreamy, almost surreal landscape that seems to stretch endlessly. Unlike most Renaissance paintings, where backgrounds were detailed and specific, Da Vinci blurred and softened the background of the Mona Lisa, making it feel distant and mysterious. This technique, known as aerial perspective, mimics how objects in the distance appear hazier due to atmospheric effects. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Mona Lisa is her gaze. No matter where you stand in the room, it always feels like she's looking directly at you. This phenomenon is called the Mona Lisa effect, a term used in psychology to describe the sensation that a subject in an artwork is following the viewer with their gaze. But how does it work? Da Vinci used a technique called foreshortening, which means he painted the eyes at an angle that creates a sense of depth. He also applied sfumato, the soft blending of colors without harsh lines, making her features look smooth and natural. Because of this, our brains interpret the image as if her eyes are positioned in three-dimensional space, even though they're on a flat canvas. Humans are wired to notice eye contact. It's a crucial part of communication and survival. When we see someone looking at us, we instinctively engage. But in real life, if we move to the side of someone's gaze, their eyes stop looking directly at us. The Mona Lisa doesn't follow this rule. Whether you're standing in front of her, to the left, or to the right, she still seems to hold eye contact. That's not how human vision works in the real world, and that's why it feels so uncanny. The Mona Lisa is famous because of the techniques that were discovered successively over the centuries. For most of its early history, the Mona Lisa was admired, but it wasn't the global icon it is today. That changed on August 21, 1911, when the painting was stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris. A man named Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian worker at the museum, hid inside the building overnight. The next morning, disguised as a museum worker, he removed the painting from the wall, stuffed it under his clothes, and walked right out of the Louvre without anyone noticing. The theft was a massive scandal. It was front-page news across the world, and people who had never even heard of the Mona Lisa before suddenly became obsessed with it. The painting's disappearance turned it into a mystery, a legend, and a cultural phenomenon. For 2 years, the Mona Lisa was missing. Rumors spread. Some thought it was lost forever. Others believed it had been stolen by an underground art collector. Then, in 1913, Peruggia tried to sell it to an art dealer in Italy, claiming he was a patriot who wanted to return the painting to its rightful homeland. The dealer turned him in, and the Mona Lisa was recovered. When the painting was returned to the Louvre, it wasn't just a famous artwork anymore. It was a celebrity. People flocked to see the portrait that had made headlines across the world. The Mona Lisa isn't just a painting. It's a puzzle. For centuries, people have speculated about who was she? Was she really Lisa Gherardini, the wife of a Florentine merchant? Or was she someone else entirely? Some even believe she was Leonardo da Vinci himself, painted as a woman. Why didn't Leonardo deliver the painting to its original owner? He worked on the portrait for years, but never handed it over to the man who commissioned it. Instead, he took it with him to France, where it eventually ended up in the hands of the French monarchy. What's behind her mysterious expression? Some say she is smiling. Others insist she looks sad. Thanks to Leonardo's blending techniques, her expression seems to shift depending on the angle from which you view her. All of this feeds into the legend of the Mona Lisa, making her more than just a painting. She's a cultural enigma. The phenomenon of a portrait's eyes following the viewer is known as the Mona Lisa effect. But here's the interesting part. The Mona Lisa is not the only painting that does this. In fact, any well-painted portrait can create the illusion that the subject's eyes are locked onto you, no matter where you move. This happens because of the way the artist has depicted depth, shadows, and perspective. When an artist paints a portrait, they create the illusion of three-dimensionality on a two-dimensional canvas. The eyes are usually painted with a strong light source and consistent shading, meaning that the highlights and shadows stay the same from every viewing angle. As a result, your brain interprets the eyes as always looking directly at you. But why does this illusion work so well with the Mona Lisa compared to other paintings? Leonardo da Vinci was a master of optics and human perception. He didn't just paint. He studied anatomy, light, and the mechanics of vision. He understood how the human eye and brain process images, and he used this knowledge to manipulate perspective and depth in his paintings. Many people believe that the Mona Lisa's gaze follows them no matter where they go in a room, but this isn't entirely true. Scientific studies have tested the range of the illusion, and they found that the Mona Lisa effect only works within a 30-degree viewing angle. If you move too far to the left or right, the illusion breaks, and her eyes no longer appear to follow you. This means that while the effect is impressive, it doesn't have an unlimited range. It's a carefully crafted trick of perspective that works best within a specific area. Despite all this, the Mona Lisa was not this famous until after it was stolen, or rather, when the press focused on the incident in an exaggerated way. And then the snowball began to fall, they found it and returned it. and researchers began to analyze it, some of it logical and scientific and some of it pure myths. And it appeared in many films and advertisements and became an indestructible icon. The painting is a great thing, but the aura they created around it is very sacred and exaggerated. Now you know. Got more midnight questions? Drop them in the comments. Stay curious, and I'll see you in another Midnight Mystery.